Tony Hawk games are the Radiohead of video games. Hear me out, hear me out. There are a lot of Tony Hawk games, and there's a lot of Radiohead albums. There's a lot of mixed bags in both mediums, but they're very similar if you think about it. Though instead of the first game being Pablo Honey, let's say that it's in bands. You get the super fast gameplay, you're just boom, you're in the game, you're already doing objectives. And that's Planet Telex. You're immediately in the album, you're like, whoa, what is this? And then you go to the next song, you're like, oh, this is great. That's the level school. Amazing. And just keeps on going like that. All of the songs are really great. All the levels and the gameplay, really great. But then we get Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, which is just the OK Computer of Tony Hawk games. The level hanger is just Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2's airbag. You're immediately into the gameplay. And Hanger is just a better version of Warehouse. It's better than Pro Skater 1. And that's how I feel about Airbag. It's like, it's the better Planet Telex. I'm telling you, it's literally Radiohead. And School 2, Paranoid Android. It works. You gotta see the bigger picture. You believe me, guys. Jack, please, I don't want you to drown. There's room on the door. Kid A, the complete left turn of what Pro Skater 2 is Pro Skater 3. So yeah, Kid A is Pro Skater 3, where the Bends and OK Computer were this more rocky. Kid A is more experimental in electronic music. And that's how I feel about Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 to Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3. Such a completely different tone shift from this pretty realistic, it's still arcadey, but it's still got more of a real feel with big drop. And then we go to Pro Skater 3 and it's just arcadey up the wall, and that's the tone shift. It goes from the semi-realistic, semi-arcadey to this full arcadey, no realism at all. The song, the national anthem, the revert system, the maps, everything in its right place. You can't tell me otherwise. It's just everything is right in your face. You gotta see the bigger picture. It's a little mixed up around here because Amnesiac, it's not really Pro Skater 4. So that's why I'm gonna go ahead and go to In Rainbows, because In Rainbows, you know, that is the Pro Skater 4 for me. A lot of people will say Underground is the In Rainbows of Tony Hawk games, but I disagree because I think it just takes everything that we know about Pro Skater 3 and all that, and it just consolidates it all into this one great game, and it's better. We get Nude, we get All I Need, we get all these things, but then we get Faust Arp, which does not fit in Rainbows in my opinion, which you can say that about Carnival, where it's like, ew, this map's ugly. But then we get Underground 1, 2, American Wasteland, all grouped up together to be a moon-shaped pool. It's sad. So that's what Underground 1's story becomes. You will hear that in Burn the Witch. Underground 2, gameplay-wise, is just really fun. So if we get back into the Daydreamer where we're dreaming about, oh, this game's so fun to play, but then we look at the story, we're like, is it really this? This is the story we committed to for Underground 2? What is this? But then we go to Project 8 and Proving Ground, which are games that they feel similar enough, but I feel like Project 8 is actually Hail to the Thief. Hail to the Thief is not a perfect album in my opinion. You get this album that has great moments, but in the same album you also get poor moments. We get 2 + 2 = 5 and Sit Down, Stand Up, back to back. Great songs. If we skip past a little bit, we get We Suck Young Blood. What is this song? It's literally just the bowling missions, the bail missions. It's so annoying. But for Proving Ground, it's really Amnesiac. While there are a lot of good ideas when it comes to Proving Ground, there's also a lot of slop. Not all of them are. There's a good handful of them that I do really enjoy. Well, there are songs like Packed Like Sardines in a Crushed Tin Box and Pyramid Song that I do remember liking. There's also songs like Polk Pull. Doesn't really have a lot going on, even if it's got an interesting sound palette. And that's how I feel about a lot of this game, which is sometimes what I feel about this album. I'll start it, but then I'm like, do I really want to listen to the full album? So I don't. Now, if we go back to Pablo Honey, this album is not really that great. If you've listened to it all, you know what I am talking about, which is why I think that it is the Game Boy Color games. Like, oh, I recognize this thing from Pro Skater 2 or Pro Skater 3, which is like, it's Creep or Blowout, but then the actual game itself, if you get into it, it's really boring, but there's cool things about them. But then we get the Game Boy Advance games. Those games are insanely good. Pro Skater 2 and Pro Skater 3 and Pro Skater 4. Those 3 games are so good when it comes to the Game Boy Advance, which is why I think In Rainbow's Disc 2 is Game Boy Advanced. It's just super good. The DS games has good stuff and bad stuff, which is why I say it's the King of Limbs, because the King of Limbs is very controversial. And what I mean by controversial is that it split up the community the most out of any album. People either love it or they hate it, which is what I feel with the DS games. We get American Skateland, which is one of my favorite games on the DS, but then we also have Proving Ground, which there's good things about the game, but it's also like it feels a bit awkward to play. It's not the greatest game, but if you take these games and you take these albums, kind of mix them up a little bit, you pretty much get the same thing from both of these mediums. They improve on things, they make new things cool, they innovate on the genre. I hope you guys enjoyed this ramble-a-thon. I don't know, I just thought it would be funny. I thought about it. Last night I thought about it, I'm like, this game franchise and this discography for Radiohead are really co-aligned with each other. I hope you enjoyed this somehow. I've got other videos that are great. I got videos about Tony Hawk, skate games, other games as well that are just fun. That's about it. My name is wojacktoter, and I'll see you in the next video. Stay goated.